true meaningful change almost always happens from the ground up, from a local level upward. Yeah. Like, I don't mind moving to like a rural part of Washington or Oregon and like bringing my partner and, stuff to vote. And like, okay, now we're two more blue voters in maybe like a purple county. The one thing that scares me about the local approach is that a model that shows an alternative way of doing things, that an alternative way of doing things can work, will not be tolerated for long. Yeah, I can see that being a reasonable concern. Play the game of capital long enough to get some property and develop your own little something. Basically, I don't even want to start a fucking commune. Like, here's the thing. I maintain this, okay? It's bad enough that I'm gonna have to listen to what my partner wants to do with our 12 acres or however much land we end up getting, I'm not about to listen to 50 people telling me where to build the greenhouse. No, no, no. I'm gonna buy land and I'm gonna own that land. My partner and I will. And I'm gonna have to listen to his opinion, and he's gonna have good reasons, and I'm gonna be like, okay, I guess you fucking are right about this one. But like, I don't wanna argue with 50 or 100 people about what we're gonna do, like, and that's like a bit of selfishness, I guess. Isolationist arc. Fucking true though. Like, genuinely. If you wanna buy some land next to me, and like, if you wanna raise goats and I'll raise chickens and we can trade the eggs and the cheese, cool. Yeah. That's cool. I thought Mitternacht was making the land allocation decisions. He wishes. He wishes. He's a big fat boy, and he's never been outside in his fucking life. Yeah, we need a vote ratified with proper debate about the greenhouse. This is tyranny. Right. I don't want to be a glorified landlord. Sounds awful. I'd like to be a part of a community of people who share ideals. A community of also landowners is preferred. If I do any commune stuff, I would be separating off single acres to sell and have them be a neighbor, but that's it anymore. Yeah. Luxander, you should build the greenhouse over there. Build it right next to the slime hutch. Well, don't you know, you can't change the location of the greenhouse. You would have to build the slime hutch right next to it. I've tried communes, but most people are not ready, but want to play. Yeah, I was actually reading some stuff in the intentional communities subreddit recently that was like, that was trying to get the idea of some people's opinions. Like, what is your opinion of like the fact that in an intentional community that you getting to have a child is something that goes up for a vote? And I'm actually of the opinion that that makes sense. That like, let's say you have 50 people, and there's one family that has, or you have several families that have children, and the children can't really work, or it wouldn't be ethical to make them do hard work. Maybe they can do little stuff, like, maybe they can spread seed to feed the chickens, or, maybe they can go pick tomatoes off of the tomato plant or whatever. Oh man, I had a dream last night where my garden popped off and there were so many tomatoes to harvest. I should go check on it. But yeah, you can't expect the children to do like full labor, and they can't get a job outside of the commune to like make money, right? So if you already have children present, if someone wants to have a child, you would need to like collectively go like, okay, well, how much resources do we have? The person who is pregnant is not going to be able to contribute in the same way while they're pregnant or for the first couple of years after the kid is born. So we're actually going to lose one worker, and then we're going to gain another mouth to feed. So like, it kind of makes sense to me that needs to be a collective decision, right? But that's the level of control you have to be willing to give over if you're in like a sustain, like a oh my god, what's the word for it? Like you're building your own food, and like you're having to do all your own shit. Like you can't be fully isolated probably, but like if it's a self-sustaining system, then yeah, like that's the level of control you have to be willing to give over. Privatized land ownership because of a belief that others will simply get in your way, or that they will want to do things with, quote, your property, feels to me like it is a reflection of the current state of society that you're used to living in. No, yeah, and you're correct. Like, if we were like already in a situation where the government had collapsed and there is no one to enforce land ownership laws, right? then we would just have to find an empty chunk of land and negotiate every aspect of it, right? But currently we live in a system where, like, I have to go buy land. I have to have a government signed piece of paper that says that I own it. And if there are any questions about the boundaries of that land, the government has to come in and enforce it, right? Like, I'm not saying that that isn't like something that is heavily reliant on the current system, like for sure. And I would feel differently if I were in a system where it's like, because the thing too is like, yeah, if I decide to have people come live on my land legally, I have liability. Like if something happens, if someone gets hurt, there's the chance that I could get sued, and then I wouldn't have any money to continue to do the homestead thing. And if I were to bring someone on my land or sell or like rent part of my land out or whatever, then there's also like an arrangement that I have to have. Then I'm functionally a landlord. So like, yeah, given that we still have that structure and we probably won't lose that structure entirely in my lifetime, at least, you know, especially because I'm going to go move to a place that's climate stable. There's so much that goes into it that, like, being that we probably won't lose the structure entirely. Like, sure, yeah, if society fully and completely collapses and there's no government, then yeah, let's have a conversation and appoint a council and collectively own everything. But like, objectively, it's not collectively owned. We would have to start like a 501c3 or incorporate it somehow, and then like you functionally would be a shareholder of the land that we all live on, you know? Mitternacht and I are here to ask you to hit like on the video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe. Click the bell if you feel like it. You don't have to though. Feel free to check out the other links in the description because I sell merch like this cute tank top. I'm running a GoFundMe to try to move 2,000 miles across the country to a place where I have rights. And I have a Patreon he's smashing his face against my face. I do feel strongly that children should be raised by groups of adults. Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's probably the best thing for society. Counter project, get land, divide it, let people work each division, giving you a part of the yield in exchange for stability and security. Feudalism speedrun. Yeah, skip the landlord stage and just get to building a castle. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't forget to raise a militia to hand over to the state, for sure. Unironically, I think, quote, my land, while necessary now, is the main part of the problem here. That's not to say you're wrong for seeing it this way, just that I think society being structured this way is damaging to cooperation and anything against individualism. No, yeah. And again, I don't disagree with you, right? It's just like people have tried to do this more broadly. Like I'm a member of a community on Reddit that's called Intentional Communities. And like intentional in this context, and someone asked, is like you choose to form this community as opposed to you just kind of living in a society that has a government. And like it's like the idea is like a commune, basically. Like you collectively own this, you all work to contribute. Like either you are contributing money or you're contributing labor, like you're helping grow the food or whatever, you're helping maintain the land. You help build the new housing when someone new wants to move in or whatever. Like intentional communities, kind of, that is what that is, right? But given that we have this current system in place, what functionally happens, yeah, if you get too communist, the government will bomb you. Yeah, so the only way to actually do this, because someone has to own the land, is like, okay, one person owns it, is one version. One person owns it and becomes a landlord and like rents out parts of their land. Or you all collectively buy in and, you know, basically incorporate or become a 501c3 kind of nonprofit, something or other. And that's how people collectively own it. So like, and I think that someone ultimately still, like, there is always one person who like owns it, or the person who started the thing, or like the person who's in charge of the company that you establish or whatever. It's much more fraught under this current system to do things in a way that is idealistically and materially collectively owned. Like there just isn't a good way to do that. Create a cooperative corporation where the landowners are the quote employees. Yeah, Nosferatu says we have to start where we are, otherwise we're just fantasy playing civilization. Yeah, like again, If society collapses and there is no concept of land ownership, then of course that changes the playing field. And I'm not going to go squat on a piece of land and say, yeah, this is mine and no one can tell me what to do with it. Thanks, Matt Peters. Says, I'm here late. I'll rewatch the start when it's over, but I did want to say I hate taking showers because of what it does to my hair too. However, your hair looks cool. It's so flat on the days that I take a shower. It doesn't curl the way that I want it to. I nominate myself for landlord. I feel like I could be a good landlord, but yeah, I don't want to be in that dynamic with someone. And that's just one of the only functional ways to do this whole we're on a commune thing together. I really would prefer to be more like Frank and Bill from The Last of Us. You know, the gay couple. They fence off their whole neighborhood and grow their own food and catch their own rabbits and shit. And they engage with trade in a limited capacity with other people and they don't let anybody in. That's closer to how I imagine. So weird to me because my hair is best on shower days. Yeah, I don't know if maybe I'm just doing something wrong. If society collapses, raid your local library because the books will have info on where you will be able to thrive off the land near you. Also, info on old-style building techniques and electrical engineering books helps you set up a small personal grid in time. Never forget your library. That's a good point. Although I do have, I have The Self-Sufficient Life and How to Live It. I have the Encyclopedia of Country Living. And I'm also thinking about getting the Foxfire books, although those are very expensive. So that will probably have to wait. But yeah, I already have I have a little library started of, stuff that will teach you how to be self-sustaining. Dream situation to be in, fenced off with a gay partner. Yeah, exactly. The Foxfire books. It's a series of books. And they go into all kinds of different stuff. They have cookbooks. They tell you about winemaking. Let's see. Firefox book series. The complete collection is more than $200. And it goes into it teaches you they basically just teach you a bunch of skills like basket making and how to maintain your tractor or how to build things. They're just a ton of, it's a series of 12 books or something. And they all cover different topics. Foxfire 2 says ghost stories, spring wild plant foods, spinning and weaving, midwifing, burial customs, corn shuckins, and wagon making. And I have a lot of that stuff is covered in the books that I already have. But yeah. If you got the books, would you be down to go over them or review them on stream? I mean, potentially, yeah. I think I may have put them on my Amazon wishlist or something. Although my Amazon wishlist is not public anymore. And yeah, I have. When I get done reading the fiction book that I'm reading right now, I'm gonna switch to reading nonfiction at night. So I'll probably read The Conquest of Bread, and then I'll get moved out of that, and I'll go into the Encyclopedia of Country Living or something. Thank you to the patrons, especially Bo E, Hapax Legomenon Patient Advocate, Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvag, Sarah A, Jack, Amanda B, Michelle Frateroli, Michelle Winter, Wellington Marcus, Danielle McDonald, Suzanne Maynard, DZXN, Jamie Jam, Nova, Sojo, Past Null Infinity, Elizabeth Bartell, Jericho, Athiet, Desi Quiche, Celeste, Mr. Atheist, Liam Hodgson, Kevin Young, and Ella V. Nobody.